No matter how constrained our time is, God He works it out to His glory, and we're okay. God, He truly multiplies back to us more than we can give on our own. God is definitely the God of multiplication. We are definitely blessed. We cannot be cursed. We are blessed with God. So just remember, in your time of need, you have to sow a seed. So let us make up our mind today. Let us be givers in life. If you get around me, I'll warn you, I'm going to try to give. I want to try to give to get blessed. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to try to buy your lunch. I'm going to try to just do something nice for you if I can. I'm looking for opportunities to sow seeds because I know the principle of sowing and reaping. I want to be a generous person. I want to be a giver. I want my son to be a giver. God has given us so much that we want to be a blessing to others also. So do what you can do. Give someone a ride. Call someone. Encourage them. Compliment someone on Facebook. Let them know how great they are, how they inspire you. You can do something. We should continually be sowing seeds. Don't ever stop. Don't ever get stagnant. So let me encourage you to also stretch your faith. Do something out of the ordinary. If you want an extraordinary harvest, you got to plant an extraordinary seed. So instead of staying home and watching TV one night, get out there and help someone. Be a friend. Give of your time to a good cause. If you're tithing 10%, why not stretch your faith a little bit and give 11%? Get a little more seed in the ground and just watch what God will do. You know, it's funny, one time I was tithing for the year and I miscalculated. I made a mistake in that calculation. Well, the funny thing is I ended up giving 12% instead of 10%. And so I got to the end of the year, I was preparing for my taxes, and I realized what I'd done. I thought, wow, I gave 12% instead of 10. And when I calculated my income, God had given me extra income, so that 12% was actually 10. It was amazing. I mean, I thought I was giving more than my tithe, but actually God increased my income so it matched my tithe. I mean, I have things like that happen a lot with God. He's very clever. Another thing that we can do is understand that what we give will be given back to us in the same amount. So if you look at Luke, there's a scripture in Luke that says, the measure you give, the same measure will be given back to you. So in other words, if you give with a spoon, you'll get a spoonful back. If you give with a shovel, you'll get a shovel back. If you bring a whole truckload of giving, you'll get a whole truckload back. Just know that the blessings will come back to you according to what you've given. 2 Corinthians 9, verse 6 says that he who sows sparingly will reap sparingly, but he who sows a lot will reap a lot. So if you're not satisfied with your life where you are, you probably need to increase your seed. You need to be a giver in order to receive more from God. The size of your harvest depends on the size of your seed. I know some people who are on a very limited income. They don't make a lot of money. It takes, everything they have to make it each month. In the natural, we want to say, oh, don't worry, hold on to your money. Don't give it away. But no, this is wrong. These type of people need to give it away more than anyone. Because God's principles are true. If they do make that effort to give, they will receive so much more than they've given. So the people with the greatest need are the ones that need to sow the seed. The enemy, the devil, he'll try to trick you and try to keep you to hang on to your seed. Because he knows if you can get that seed in the ground, you will be blessed. And there's nothing he can do to stop it. You will see supernatural increase. Increase that can only come from God. But if you don't sow your seed, you'll just stay where you're at in life. You will never reap a harvest. So don't let the enemy keep you from prospering. Get out there and sow your seed. Some of you may also be scared to tithe. You think you can't afford it. But friends, you can't afford not to tithe. I truly believe that tithing is what has activated all the blessings in my life. It's amazing what God does when you tithe. Those of you that go to church know about tithing. Tithing is when you give God the first 10% of your income. You don't tithe on the money you have left over. You tithe on the first money you get. And you should tithe, you should give that 10% faithfully to your local church. Just please remember, God, He owns everything. He gives us money to manage, to be stewards. But God owns the world, everything in it. God owns all the money. So in Malachi, the Bible tells us that when we tithe, God will open up His storehouses in heaven, and He will rain down so many blessings on us that we can't contain it. So picture this. When we tithe, God is opening up His storehouses, and He's taking out blessings, and He's pouring them down on us so much that we can't contain it. More than what we gave with our 10%. So much more than that. I believe this with all my heart, that if we tithe, if we're faithful, that God will reward us abundantly. I also believe that the 90% that we have left after we tithe, that it will actually go farther than the 100% if we don't tithe. Before I started tithing, it seemed like I was always short on money. I never had enough to go around. But once I started tithing, things really changed. It seemed like I had more money than I had before I started tithing. I wasn't making more money right away, but I just had more money. And so you're probably wondering, well, how is that? So one example is I had to buy 4 new tires for my car. My car wasn't safe to drive, so I had to get 4 new tires. Well, each tire was like $300, very expensive. So since I had to buy 4 tires, it would have cost me $1,200. It's a lot of money. But because my car was unsafe, I had to buy them. So when I went to pay, the man working there, he said, "Wow, this is your lucky day." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "There's a special on this tire." I said, "Oh, okay. What is it?" And he says, "If you buy 1 tire, you get 3 free." I was like, wow. So what should have cost me $1,200 only cost me $300. So that's an example of where when you tithe, your money goes farther. I have other examples like that where I get refunds from my insurance company. And in the US, you never get a refund from your insurance company. Usually your insurance always goes up. But I think that's happened to me like 3 times where my insurance company's given me a refund.